Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast is the wrestling podcast Getting Over, and we are here to discuss Backlash. That's right, Backlash is here. We're going to talk about the fallout from WrestleMania, talk about all the news, all the, unfortunately, releases that have happened, and everything else that's going on, and then we are going to preview and predict Backlash. Before we get started, please consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Share that podcast around, people. You're listening to this, you're watching it, you're thinking, man, I love the wrestling. Hey, I've got a friend that also enjoys the wrestling and I don't think they're listening to this podcast. Let me correct that right now. Send it their way, they will love you for it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast Getting Over.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome along to the home of all things WWE, right here on the CookieCast Podcast Network. Welcome to the Getting Over podcast. Now, the YouTube viewers amongst you may notice that we are down to a triple threat right now. We do potentially have run-ins to happen later in the show, so keep your eye on that screen. But for right now, let's get these introductions going. First up, the creator himself and Getting Over regular, Mr. Andrew Cook is here.
Good evening.
And the current reigning, defending predictions champion, making yet another appearance on the podcast. He's back for some more, ladies and gentlemen. It is Max Hepworth. How are we doing, sir?
Oh, I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, you know. I haven't been fired just after WrestleMania, so I'm doing better than some people. But I suppose we'll get to that very, very shortly. But yeah, recovered from WrestleMania.
Yeah,
And when I say recovered, I mean clearly from the disappointment that was night one. We'll get into that very shortly as well. So yeah, hopefully at some point down the line, you may see a Mr. Matthew Moore. You may see a Mr. Paul Williams. But yeah, they'll be somewhere, if not on this episode, but on the next, I'm sure. Right, session from 2 nights of WrestleMania to decide who is going to take home the predictions title. Now, obviously, I mentioned that Max is your current reigning and defending champion. Would that carry over when we've got 2 nights worth of predictions to go at? Well, I'll give you the scores for night one and see if you can tell me whose is whose. Of the 4 of us from night one of us got 2. And 3 of us got 5. Max is looking worried there slightly. I think he knows already.
We're not the 2.
So you haven't got the 2, Max. The 2
Was it you?
belongs to this idiot. That's right. The 2 is mine. So Andy, Paul, and Max all pegging after night one, and the one that let you down was varying between the 3 of you, or the 2 that let you down. So Andy, the women's tag match, and Randy Orton let you down. For Paul, it was Logan Paul not winning and Randy Orton. For Max, it was AJ not winning and Randy Orton. So yeah, Randy Orton was the common theme. We all got that one wrong. Whereas clearly, I just had some kind of head injury last time, so that was my that accounted for my 2 points. However, still had night 2 to redeem things. And going into night 2, there was a 6 points available, and from those 6 points, me in last place currently got 5 out of 6. So I was quite happy with that as a redeemer. Not too bad. Um, now then, Paul. Paul got 4, which put him on 9 overall, which then puts it down to between Max and Andy. Which way is that going to go? So Max also scored 4, putting Max on 9. And Mr. Cook, clearly on the last episode, sat there fondling his crystal ball. 6 out of 6 on night 2, giving Andy his title back, as it were. So yeah, 11 points and new predictions champion. Well done, Andy. He's happy now, look.
Finally, the gold has come back to Cookie Cast Towers.
There we go.
It's
Very
been
well
a
done.
long time coming.
I was looking at the thing thinking, because I didn't check the results off as I was watching it. I like left it a few days and I kind of came to the pad and I was like, well, that one was right. And that one was right. And I got to about halfway in and I thought, oh, he's done it. He's absolutely done it. So yeah, very, very well done. 11 points out of a total possible, what was that?
13.
13. Yeah, only 2 wrong from night 1. That was insane. Um, Highlights and lowlights from WrestleMania very briefly, because obviously we've got a full 2 nights to go at. For Andy, I'm going to throw it up there right from the beginning. Logan Paul not winning, it's got to be up there. Followed immediately for me by a low point of Drew getting shafted, but we all knew that he would. By the way, as well, just for clarity in the points, Paul and Max both picked the Bellas as a collective team to win, but I still gave you the points, seeing as one half of them ended up still wrestling. Nikki Bella, with her ankle injury, obviously replaced in the match at the last minute by none other than England's own Paige. Not been seen since. Let's see. Not been on Raw or SmackDown, I don't think.
Yeah, she has.
Has she? Okay, fair enough. I've missed that one then.
They brought her out, but rather than playing Paige's music, they just played Brie Bella's music twice.
That's maybe why I didn't twig it then, because I was half watching. Fair enough. But yeah, so returning Paige, happy to see her. She looked great, to be fair. I thought she did a decent job. So maybe it's best for everybody involved that Nikki Bella's ankle wasn't quite ready. Or maybe that's me being harsh. Not of night 1 was the amount of time that had been allocated for matches. So that was a huge disappointment. Obviously, Becky taking back the Intercontinental Championship to carry that sort of further down the line. Gunther getting the win over Seth, which my prediction of Braun Breaker joining back up with Seth couldn't have been any more wrong. It couldn't have been any worse, I suppose, than his attempted second spear when he ran pretty much the full length of the ramp and absolutely fucking missed him, which was a little embarrassing. But nonetheless, that story continues. We all had Liv, like I say, Liv winning. Max, I think, nailed it last time when he said something to the effect of Vickers' title reign seems to have run its course, and she's also stopped talking on TV. And we all know how WWE reacts with that. So yeah, Liv taking that title and coming to the ring as well to that god awful song that she's got out. I mean, that's just me getting old, but it sounds like something from like the Trolls movie or something. It's weird. And of course, Randy Orton not claiming his 15th world title from night 1. Not not great. Night one, in terms of if you're going to give it a sort of a grading, for me was a solid D minor. I think it was not. It was not one of the nights of WrestleMania that will go down in history. Um, Again, coming out of the main event, where does that leave Orton? I think McAfee seems to have gone. Um, Jelly Roll for the time being seems to have gone, so I suppose maybe that's a positive. But yeah, night one, not great. Night two, I mean, the only way is up, right? That's kind of how I looked at it. Um, yeah, kicked off though in not unsurprising, but then a little shocking fashion in the respect of the first match was Oba versus Brock. Now, three of the four of us had Oba down to win, which indeed he did. So that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was immediately after the match finished, where Brock Lesnar took off the gloves, took off the boots, and seemingly retired from WWE right there at WrestleMania. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird atmosphere for it. Um, I can understand why it was done, but then the way it was done kind of was like, no, it's not. It's not though, is he? He's not. And then they even felt the need to kind of double down and really back it up on Monday Night Raw by playing quite an in-depth video package just to confirm that no, this is it. I think in the presser afterwards as well, they were even asked like really, and yeah. So whether that sticks or not, we'll see. Um, I still think he's got more in the tank if he wanted it. I just wonder what's kind of in the background that's kind of forced it then, rather than a little bit down the line, shall we say?
It's one of those things. Obviously, for many, many, many years, I was always, up with the Brock. Obviously, with certain controversies and certain things that have gone on in the last few years, that has sort of soured a little. As a person, he makes no attempt to hide how a lot of it just isn't for him. Like the public eye stuff, the all the elements of that side of it isn't for him. He doesn't enjoy that side of it. You know, he's always needed like someone to talk for him because he doesn't like the talking side of it. He's always needed like a buffer and all of that. It's not been for him. Because of what's happened, a lot of interviews have popped up recently where he's literally just talking about like things he would rather do with his time, and the list is long. What I will say is this: obviously, when one door closes, etc., there are rumors circulating of a certain other sport that he has participated in the past, which he has probably felt a little robbed on through medical grounds rather than anything else. And there are rumors circulating about a possible return to the other side of the fence. So whether there is anything there, I don't know.
It would make sense because
It
that
would.
was the whole diverticulitis rearing up, wasn't it, at
Yeah.
the time when he had to retire from that a bit earlier than anticipated. And if he feels like he's got gas left in the tank and he'd rather do that, then why not use the gas doing that? And, conveniently, it's all under the same umbrella now, so I'm pretty sure that contract will be
They could
easily.
just cross out the WWE at the top, put those other letters that we may or may not be able to say right now, and nothing else changes. He still gets paid by the same people. So it'll just be a different. I think there is a theory that that sport is in a particular place right now that he would do very well. There's sort of a feel that like some characters are needed, I suppose. You've got a variety of things, but certain elements have gone certain ways and stuff. So maybe he's had thoughts like you say, it definitely seems like there's plenty in the tank. So it doesn't seem like it's I'm retiring for this reason or that reason. It just seems more of a, maybe he came back from a contract perspective. Maybe he had stuff left on his contract and had to do a certain amount. Maybe he's just like, I'd rather go and work on the ranch. Maybe.
Yeah, he's not going to be needing to go to work for the money at this point, is he? So fair play to him if he can do that and to keep it as what he enjoys. I have no problem with it. I think that possibly there may be more to come on the old allegations list, and perhaps he's maybe getting out at the right time.
That's my worry. My worry is that we're just about to see an announcement about some stuff. I'd heard a particular name mentioned recently that I was hoping we'd never have to hear again, and that how he's back and he wants to buy the company back and all of this. And it's like, if that's the case, the powers that be will just drag all the allegations back up. And if they drag all the allegations back up, you're not going to get too far before you land on certain other names. So there's a possibility that there's a that sort of thing going on. You just never know, I suppose.
So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting start, and the match quality for me was instantly better. It felt like there was a real buzz around the start of night 2, and then for that to land, it felt a lot more intriguing. And it was backed up very, very well by the next match on the card of the night, which was the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. We knew this was going to be an absolute spot fest. That's what it's there for. But Jesus Christ, was there some stuff that was, insane. It was absolutely insane. And to be fair, it's just exclamation point on it was the Mexican Destroyer onto the ladder, which obviously was Penta onto, I think it was Javon Evans. Yeah, rough. But yeah, really, really good fun match. Penta retains the Intercontinental Championship moving on, which most of us predicted, Paul. But I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a really, really well done match. I think even Rusev looked all right in it, to be fair, and I felt he was a bit out of place on the night compared to the rest of them. But also probably gave JD Madonna a little foot up the ladder, for want of a better expression, as well, in the sense of I thought he had a really good showing in the match. Again, because of the rush in the build, it felt a little bit like he was just sort of thrown in, but I feel like he really took his opportunity quite nicely. So yeah, good to see. Following that, we had a new US champion, Trick, taking the US title from Sami Zayn. Demon Finn returned. Demon Finn did not lose, beating Dominic Mysterio. And then again, Paul predicting Jade to win. She didn't. As I said at the time, the big matches went with the sponsors' favourites, and it invariably came to fruition, unfortunately, in some regards. So yeah, Rhea Ripley making the move to SmackDown with the WWE Women's Championship, and then the final match, which seemingly got 4 times more than any other match time on across the entire weekend. It felt like we'd been building to a big main event, and Roman versus Punk, for me, definitely delivered. But again, it was the only match of the weekend that was really given the time it warranted for me. But yeah, really enjoyed the match. Decent story throughout. Good build to the finish. So yeah, if you don't watch anything else on WrestleMania, if you're here for the catch up, literally just watch the main event, and I think you'll be sound from the whole weekend, to be honest. So shout out to the ladder match and to the Oberprop match, but yeah, if you're only going to pick one, stick with the main event for me. I'm getting some nods all round, it seems, at that point. Okie dokie. Well, the news after WrestleMania, unfortunately, seems to be the annual news that is always after WrestleMania, as in we've got a whole list of people who have now been released or cut from the company. It really wouldn't be a post-WrestleMania podcast, really, would it now, without all this? So, the list I could find in full, and if anybody knows of anybody else, chuck them in. Some of these names, if you're not an NXT viewer, you will be like, huh? But there's a lot. So, it's I think it's almost in alphabetical order as well. Alba Fire, Alistair Black, Alex Shelley, Andrea Chase, Apollo Crews, Bo Dallas, so obviously with that Uncle Howdy as well, Carly Bright, Chris Sabin, Dante Chen, Dexter Loomis, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Kyrie Sane, Luca Crucifino, Malik Blade, Nikki Cross, Santos Escobar, Tyra May Steele, who was released and then had a match the week after. Work that one out. Tyreek Igwe, Tyson DuPont, Zelina Vega, and Zoe Stark were all released on the 24th of April. But WWE weren't even done there. It was a huge list. JC Mateo, Tonga Loa, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods all followed suit on May the 2nd. It is rumoured that there may even still be more to come. There's more rumours circulating that TKO are trying to restructure pay deals, offering some wrestlers a 50% pay cut. Oh, the generosity. And the other option is, off you go. It's rumoured that this is what's happened to the New Day. And to be fair, good on them for sticking up for themselves. Because in the current climate where TKO are happy to repeatedly take Saudi money, continually price fans out of attending live events with extortionate price hikes, only the super rich really being able to afford that experience right now. They've opted to effectively then lowball talent that has been with the company for years. To me, that's just not right. I get cutting the roster if you think it's too heavy, but doing it that way is just like, whoever thought Kofi would leave ever? He was a lifer, like really, like very bizarre. I may just add, in the build up to WrestleMania 42, Paul Levesque, Triple H, signed a new contract. Nick Khan signed a new multi-million-dollar contract that will keep him with WWE until 2030. So the management sorted themselves out, and then they had to bin off everybody else. Sounds familiar.
That's generally the way the world works now.
Yep.
Everybody at the top looks after themselves, and then they just get rid of everyone else. And then suddenly everybody wonders why the company's failing. Like, you're paying everybody at the top all the money and you're getting rid of everybody at the bottom, but no idea. Sorry, I can't work out.
It feels like with the way that it's been run that we're probably about to go through a really low period for wrestling. Unfortunately, it's I've been a fan a very, very long time, but it's got that feel about it that the sort of winter is coming, to coin the Game of Thrones thing. But yeah, like you've got to think on as well, like even those guys, and we'll never know until it comes out in the wash years down the line. If they've been offered a pay cut to stay and taken it, what does that tell that person? Because that tells that person, well, actually, they were happy to let you go, really, in the end.
Yeah.
And I'm not, for me as well. I was just sort of thinking about it earlier, and LA Knight can't be in a great position. He was apparently set to feud with Gunther. Since WrestleMania, they've moved Gunther to SmackDown to go after Cody, and LA Knight not been seen since. Drew McIntyre shafted at WrestleMania, probably not in the greatest position in the card right now. So if they offered him 50% and he didn't take it, I think those two guys for me are kind of the bigger names that probably would be worrying, but or I'd be worried for. But the list in and of itself, obviously, there was a lot of NXT people in there. Again, mentioned that the Tyra May Steele thing, weird. Olympic medalist, had all the fanfare being signed for NXT and all the rest of it. got released and then had a match after she was released, and it was like her first one on TV as well, which was just weird. Really strange way of doing it. To get rid of the whole Wyatt Six in one fell swoop. Bizarre. But what do we think about that?
A lot of the times when they go through these rounds of like massive culls, I never understand it because week in, week out, they're happy to roll out the same people over and over. I've said this every time. They're happy to roll out the same people week in, week out. You're telling me that there are only 6 good wrestlers in the entire world. You're telling me there are only 6 good wrestlers in the entire company. You're telling me that they don't have talent that's sitting there twiddling their thumbs that they could say, look, we're going to put you over here with this guy. We're going to really build up your ability. We're going to shape a different persona, and we're going to roll you back out as this guy who does this thing, who's got this gimmick, and can wrestle like an absolute monster. Fans are going to take to you. We're going to sell merch, and we're going to be able to increase our revenue across the board. No, we need to get the same 6 people out week in, week out. And then when the big matches come, when we've got to cobble something together because we've got half a dozen people to make entire nights worth of wrestling out of, to find matches the first time ever, well, it's not the first time ever because you've got nothing left to play with. That's the company's way. That's the company's stance. It just baffles me. It's like, what? There's only these people that can do it. That's it. They're the only guys.
Apparently. Yeah. It's getting rid of the Wyatt Six for me feels like a very, very missed opportunity. And I think it just shows that they didn't really know how to handle the Bray Wyatt situation full stop. Because he created something within that gimmick that had the opportunity to live beyond himself. People love Bray Wyatt. People still love Bray Wyatt now. And that gimmick, essentially paying tribute to him for the whole time, like it could have run and run. It could have had people coming in and out of it. Like Alexa Bliss, for example. By the way, the gear at WrestleMania with a tribute to Bray was very, very nice. But they've even messed that up. Like you just had to play the guy's music, and an arena just the atmosphere changed. But no, decided that it's not good enough. We're gonna get rid of them all in one go. Kairi Sane will also be one that's right up there for a bit of a weird one, smack in the middle of the storyline with Asuka, and on Raw one week. Literally had a match, I think it was the opening match on Raw after WrestleMania, and then out the door. Storyline unresolved. They're just moving on as if it's never happened. Bizarre. Very, very bizarre. One last little thing I would like to mention as well on the back of this is that they're obviously struggling for money, seeing as they're cutting all these people. So they definitely don't need to be like paying anybody to make like a special appearance at the next event or anything, do they? Because long-time retiree John Cena, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, the man who retired in December and has hosted WrestleMania since, is now back less than a month later, and he is going to not fight at Backlash because he's not going to be doing the fighting at Backlash, is he? He's making an announcement.
Isn't he?
What announcement is that going to be? Will it actually be
WWE
anything of importance? Well,
the announcement's not not going to be the big news item. Trust me on this one. I've got the inside scoop.
you think he's coming back?
Let's get to the predictions, and you'll see where the big man's going on this one. I've been in the weeds on this one and dug up some juicy predictions.
What were you saying, Max?
The WWE club was what I thought. Is that what what it is now?
Yeah,
That's news. But going back to the releases, I've heard that they've already approached Xavier Woods about going back, due to his involvement with the 2K games and the up, down, down, left, right, whatever thing that he does on whatever stream platform it is. But as somebody that's recently completed WWE 2K26, find it incredible the people that they've released. You know, part of no spoilers here, Stu, I'm sorry, but the Wyatt Six feature heavily in the heel storyline, and the New Day feature heavily in the other storyline. And you just think for having characters that feature so heavily in the game, surely you think there'd be some kind of planning involved where they think, well, you know, if we're going to create a game that's potentially going to bring in a new gaming audience or a new audience to the product, surely then you'd keep them within the business, so then they can at least go, oh, do you know what? I was playing against this person. I was playing as this person. I want to see how they get on. Whereas it's all right. Well, the game comes out in March. Was it April? End of March. Gone by April. It makes next to no sense for me. But
yeah, it's not ideal for sure. I've heard the Xavier Woods thing as well, in the sense of they're almost going to approach or have approached him with a Tyler Breeze style contract in the respective. We'll literally pay you to do this stuff, but just not the wrestling side. He could carry it off, but I don't think he'll let that lie. To be honest, we shall see. Time will tell. Right. There was a lot of releases to discuss. Obviously, that was the big news piece since WrestleMania, and not actually that much time has passed. So that just leaves me to say, hold on to your hats, because it's predictions time. Oh my God! A wild Paul has appeared. How are we, Mr. Williams? Welcome along.
The wild Paul is startled.
Oh no!
He has run away.
Quick!
Yes,
Somebody throw your balls
I'm
at
very
him.
good. Oh, good lord! Tell that or like when you went into the
already?
safari zone.
Come on.
Yeah, it's like when you went into the safari zone and you had to either throw bait or a rock at a Pokemon, and it invariably never worked. So,
Well,
yeah.
Viewers will be forgiven for thinking that Charmander himself has arrived. No, that is just Paul. Right. I suppose we better move on. We've veered away massively from the wrestling, but Paul, you've joined us just as we was about to get into the predictions, so perfect timing. Who would have thought it? This weekend, WWE Backlash.
Backlash.
If you've not seen the video, go and check out Danhausen's socials as a very good introduction to the weekend ahead. Yeah, Backlash is this weekend, this coming Saturday, the 9th of May, and it's from the Benchmark International Arena. I'm assuming that's a company. They don't just think really highly of their arena in Tampa, Florida. This will be the 21st Backlash event in WWE history, with the first being all the way back in the olden days of 1999.
When the dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yeah, it was like before they'd even made the black and white tellies and everything. It made me feel really old when I found that out. Anyway, as always, the match card information is taken from WWE.com, and it is accurate at the time of recording, but the card is always subject to change. And we are back to having the standard 5-match premium live event set up in play, with the following all slated to take place this weekend: Seth Rollins versus Bron Breakker, Io Sky versus Asuka, a United States title match between new champion Trick Williams and former champion Sami Zayn, a tag team match player between The Miz and Kit Wilson versus Danhausen, and we don't know yet, and a World Heavyweight Championship match, Roman Reigns, the brand new World Heavyweight Champion, defending his title against his cousin, Jacob Fatu. So let me head back to the top of that list and we will get started. Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. First up on your predictions listings tonight, gents. And it's a big time grudge match to kick off the predictions for the episode. Seth Rollins versus the returning Braun Breaker. Former stablemates collide this weekend as the OG Vision finally come to blows. Braun, as we were talking about earlier, did return at WrestleMania. He did spear Rollins once properly and cost him the match against Gunther. He also did that stupid one where he missed by like a country mile, but they still tried to sell it and it looked ridiculous. But yeah, after Mania, Braun issued another beatdown on Raw. Led to a bit of a heated exchange in which Braun claimed he's ready to take down his former mentor in a one-on-one showdown. And the match was set. Paul Heyman's still kicking around in that setup. Will he get involved? Will Gunther make an appearance, trying to garner more favour with the wise man? Or just throwing this out there nice and early, just in case it, are we going to get Bronson Reed back this weekend? Is he going to come in and have a little say in who wins? What is going to happen? Who wants to take the first prediction of this episode? Paul's in. Go on, look at it. He walks straight in, just laying it down as soon as he gets here.
People, I tell you.
I'm only gonna jump in immediately now because I want to get in before Andy. As I'd like to have this down as my no contest or no sort of outcome of the evening, if that makes sense. I reckon
Okay.
they'll do a sort of a way that the match just gets thrown out because there's like interference on like all sides and stuff like that. So the Vision will get involved, but then there'll be the team that Rollins is putting together behind the scenes or whatever that sort of causes him to. Isn't he involved with the Street Profits in a way or something like that?
Well, we might find out this weekend.
Well, exactly. So I reckon there'll be. I believe the term that's always used is a schmoz, or something like that.
You all
yes,
right, Paul?
no, I'm very tired. Some knobhead threw a ball at me about 5 minutes ago. Tried to sort of knock me out and stuff. So, yes. So I'll go for no contest, please.
Okay. Well, I won't be doing that. Andy, seeing as Paul tried to step on your toes, I'm going to ask, is that where you went?
Nah, my toes are well and truly dry, just like my powder. I've got an absolute bombshell to drop later. I've got Bron Breakker winning this one. I think there's a lot to gain from both sides, but I think pushing Bron Breakker back towards championship status is probably the way this one needs to go. So I think go that way. I feel like every time Seth's in a match, I end up saying the phrase, "Well, they could afford to pin a loss on him," and that never really changes. I think he's fairly bulletproof at this point in time. They can put a loss on him as much as they want, and it'll just keep going and keep going. So yeah, I think pin a loss on there, Bron Breakker to win, and further that towards the championship sort of status.
Okay, cool. Bron Breakker is in the book for Andy. Max?
Also, Bron Breakker for me.
Similar thoughts or something different?
No, I agree with what Mr. Cook said, and the fact that Seth can take a loss better than what Bron Breakker can. I think when you consider the amount of time Bron Breakker's had out, I think the need to give him some momentum. I don't think this is where the storyline's going to end, and I think there will be shenanigans. Wouldn't surprise me if it culminates in a SummerSlam match or something, or if it continues. I think Survivor Series would be a bit long, but if Seth is developing his own team behind the scenes, you could have Team Bron versus Team Seth, but I think that's a bit too much. So I think it'll probably end at SummerSlam. But I've got Bron to kick off the feud with a win.
Okay. Well, if Paul hadn't have sat so firmly on that fence, we could have had a clean sweep here because I am also going for Bron Breakker. I did mention Bronson Reed earlier. I think he will be part of it this weekend. I don't think he's going to be too far away.
What
Wouldn't
was his injury? Because I thought he was still sort of like in the timescale of still being injured.
Yeah, but so was Seth Rollins after he had that leg injury, and he was back like what 3 months ahead of schedule or whatever it was. I still feel like that it's gone so quiet on his injury, and they've not mentioned him very much on TV, and I just think it's that sort of the calm before the storm sort of a deal where they're
Yeah.
trying to almost make you forget. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like from a booking perspective, I think that Braun absolutely is the right guy to win. I just don't think they'll do that. I think they'll do this thing because obviously with Rollins having only just come back himself, I think they want to keep they want to keep both of them strong. And when that's the case, that's when we generally tend to get the sort of the shenanigans happening. And obviously, Seth lost against Gunther at WrestleMania, so that'll be
Yeah.
2 losses on the spin for him at big events. So I just don't know if they're going to do that to him.
I agree with Andy though. I think he can take it. I think he's done it all, won it all, hasn't he? So I think it's easy forgotten. Like one win, two pay-per-views down the line from now, and it's all forgotten about. So
True.
yeah, anyway, we shall move along. First predictions are locked and loaded. Next up, the match that we should have got at WrestleMania, in my opinion. And I suppose that's what Backlash is for. Io Sky versus Asuka. And another grudge match, months and months in the making between former stablemates. So former Damage Control teammates Asuka and Io Sky will be out to settle at a long time score. These guys have been feuding since September when Asuka betrayed her friend Io. And on the Raw after WrestleMania, Io teamed with Rhea Ripley to defeat the Kabuki Warriors, leaving Asuka irate and seemingly without a tag team partner once Kairi then got binned shortly afterwards. The following week, however, Asuka exacted a measure of revenge by costing Io Sky an Intercontinental title match before then issuing a further post-match beatdown. Things have obviously got very personal between these two, and the differences really are set to be settled this coming weekend. Will that be the end of it, though? We shall see. Who emerges victorious this weekend? Between the two, if you're going to pick a no contest, I would suggest this one would be it because Io's not really been around in a singles capacity very much over the last sort of few months because she's been in that tag team with Rhea Ripley. Everything that's come up has been in a tag team match with the now departed Kairi and Asuka. Asuka hasn't really won an awful lot in that time either. So I don't really know which one of them loses here. And generally, I don't know. It just depends where it sits on the card. Because if the matches come out in the order that we've got them down in the predictions, if the heel wins the first match, don't think the heel wins the second. So on that basis and on that basis alone, I'm going for Io to win. Max, do you want to go next?
Yes. I've got Io Sky for the win. For me, with Kairi Sane going, and it doesn't really, for me, it doesn't feel as though it just feels really flat. This feud now, it feels that it's dragged on for far too long. It's something that should have been done. For me, if you're deeming it not big enough to, fair enough, it's not big enough to go on Mania. Mania is the biggest event, but they should have just settled it at a Raw, really, and done something for a bigger match for me. Because
nope, not having that.
I think you don't agree.
No, not having that. like it absolutely. Bearing in mind as well, I know hindsight's 2020 and all that, but the quality that we got on night one, um, the way they should have built it, it should have been a triple threat between the three of them. They had more than enough time to get to that point, and it absolutely was big enough for WrestleMania. But again, because they put all the eggs in
Oh
the
no,
sponsor basket, they absolutely fucked it.
I didn't say it wasn't big enough for Mania. I said they've deemed it not to be big enough for Mania.
Okay.
And I just feel as though they've dropped a bit of a, to have what happened with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, where Rhea couldn't beat Io, to suddenly it's, they either should have separated them back then and then had one go for one type, one go for another, or something. But to then just relegate Io Sky to being Rhea Ripley's tag team partner, and then have Rhea Ripley win the title, then just suddenly it's like, well, the friends, so she ain't going to go for that now. We'll just have a go for the Intercontinental title. I just kind of feel as though don't really know what to do with her, which is another reason why I think it's a bit flat, and because they don't really know what they're doing with either of them now, especially getting rid of Kyra Sane. I just think for me, it's just a bit of a wasted match at a pay-per-view, but I'm still going for Io Sky to win. I think it'll be a good match. I do think Io Sky is a very good wrestler, and I think Asuka's a very good wrestler. But I just feel as though it's about 3, maybe 4 months too late.
Yeah, it is definitely too late. I would still argue that both of those two are probably in the top 3 women on the card right now. If they're given time, Asuka very rarely is given time in a single situation these days, but it's beyond me why not, because she's very, very good.
I don't think her age is going against her now.
Yeah, but again, there's people older than her still going, isn't there? It's just
I know. But
weird.
TKO
It's a
want to
weird
go
one.
through, they want to go down a younger route or a younger path, don't they? So the rumours are anyway, but
Yeah, you
she
still
could
need
be
time.
cool.
You need time to establish. She could be, particularly with her tag team partner out the door as well. But you need time to establish the stars. Like, it's all right them saying we want a younger crop, but the younger crop haven't had the 20 years of experience in the build, have they? And how many of the world title holders, particularly from the men's side of things, in the last 20 years have been under 35? Not many. Uh, anyway, Andy, do you want to go next?
I've got Io Sky down to win this because I think there's more there for them to work with. I think from a creative perspective, I think with like recent exits, I do wonder after this match what they're going to do with Oscar. But yeah, I've gone with Io for the win.
Okay, doke. Lovely stuff. In the book, Paul.
It should really be a clean sweep, as I think of the two. Granted, I don't think there's much between them, but I think that Io is probably sort of the one with the bigger upside, just because she's younger. They're both very similar from like an in-ring perspective. But Triple H has got, I think, like, obviously, like, Asuka was like his big ticket thing when he was back in NXT, wasn't he? And it almost feels like he's never had the chance to sort of like properly, like, I'm going to use a phrase here that's going to sound awful, play with her on the main roster. Like, he's never had the chance. Yeah, Max is looking at me there as if to say, what the fuck has he just said there?
Max is looking as if to say, we thought Vince had gone.
But it almost feels as if like she's never really been. I know she has been given the belt a couple of times and stuff like that, but she's never really been given it to like have like a long run with it like she did in NXT.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if she's being built up as sort of like the next person to go after, like Liv Morgan, but further down the line, like because I think Liv Morgan will turn at some point in the very near future.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you need heels for it to go up against. So I wouldn't be surprised if Asuka's being built back up for that. And because of that, I think there'll be, again, some sort of shenanigans, maybe like it'll be confusing as all hell to everybody. But there's a potential they might bring Kyrie back in just for the night to cost Io the match in a weird way. It won't make any sense. But I think that Asuka will get the win, and then we go from there. But I don't really know where that leaves Io. It's a strange one for me because they kind of both need to win, but I can see benefits to them both losing. Yeah. I can't really explain it any better than that.
Okay, but bottom line was, for anybody not quite following along, Asuka in the book, yeah? Sweet.
Yes, please.
Lovely. Okay, so Paul potentially out there twice over on Points Island. Third prediction. I would suggest this possibly will be our first clean sweep coming without a shadow of a doubt. This is the only straight WrestleMania rematch on a show entitled Backlash. The new United States champion Trick Williams defends against former champion Sami Zayn. Williams is highly likely to have his friend, rapper Lil Yachty, in tow, as the pair have been intent on ridiculing Sami Zayn in recent weeks, even introducing a live-action gingerbread man on the final SmackDown before WrestleMania. And just 2 days later, Trick took Sami's title. During the title celebrations on the SmackDown following, the gingerbread man did return. This time, however, it was Sami Zayn in disguise to spoil the party. Who would have thought it, eh? Sami Zayn being a gingerbread man. But following a further backstage attack by Sami Zayn on the Crumbly character, Williams agreed to a title rematch before announcing a funeral for the gingerbread man. Not a sentence I thought I'd ever say, let alone live on a podcast. Bizarre. Yeah. Is Sami Zayn going to take back the gold? Or does Trick live to fight another day, US title in hand? I don't know. Should we call this the speed round? Because I think this is going to be quick. Andy?
Retain.
Paul?
Yep, same for me. Tricky boy.
Max?
Return.
Yeah, full house. As I expected, Trick Williams to win. It makes no sense taking the title off him this soon. Go on, Paul. Do the thing. Do the thing. Say the line.
No, well, it's not even that, but it's just like, do you sort of use this as your way of like cementing the Sammy heel turn and the Trick face turn and stuff like that to sort of further the storyline? Could this be where Kevin Owens comes back in? I don't know. It feels like I've been willing him to come back for about 6 months now, but
again,
it's happening. So
he's another one though, isn't it? Where it's all gone very quiet on the injury front in terms of where he's at. There's been no news released of late, so it's at that point where he's absolutely coming back, or he's never coming back, and I don't think there's kind of any in between really with his style of injury, particularly. So yeah. Okay, well, as I expected, that one was a quick one. Has anybody got anything they want to add to this? We good?
yeah,
Cool. Okay, so we'll move on to the main event of the evening. It's not the last match on the card, but the main event, for me, at the very least, is Danhausen's premium live event debut in a tag team match with a mystery partner versus The Miz and Kit Wilson. We've all seen it. We've all enjoyed it. Some people have even enjoyed it somewhat begrudgingly, I would suggest at this point. But Danhausen has just generally been running amok across both shows since his arrival and has made absolutely no secret in a storyline sense that he would like to be mentored by The Miz. And after weeks of torment, curses, and that WrestleMania segment in front of the live crowd, The Miz did agree to be Danhausen's mentor. But it was all just a ruse. And it just led to a beatdown from the man Miz has actually taken under his wing, Kit Wilson. Nick Aldis booked the title match for this coming weekend on the basis that Danhausen must find a tag team partner. But at the point of recording, no partner has been revealed. The only clue given is that his partner likes money. Who do we think the partner is going to be? And who takes the win? Yeah, we didn't talk about that WrestleMania segment earlier on. But if you're coming in as the newest act that was signed prior to WrestleMania, you don't get a match, but you get a marquee segment with John Cena. I think you've done all right for your first go. It was quite funny, and plus as well, he got one of his special moves in the groin punch. So, it was good. If you've not seen it, again, would recommend. And he even performed a five knuckle shuffle on the grandest stage of them all. And yes, I do mean the John Cena move, get your mind out the gutter. I was in two minds before this about texting you guys to say, do we do a point for the partner and then the result? But I think for me that the partner thing is kind of, I think it's just like it's only going to be one person for me. So I didn't know if that was worth doing, but we can still chuck the guesses out there if you want, and we'll see what lands, and we can decide from there. Who would like to go first this time? Who's not been first yet? Andy's not been first yet, have you?
Okay, hear me out. I watched a very long video that was very in depth into who the mystery partner is. And the mystery partner is John Cena. John Cena is going to come out, he's going to do his announcement, and then the other three wrestlers of this match are going to come down. Danhausen's going to announce that John Cena is his tag team partner, and the match is just going to start. They're going to ring the bell and it's going to go. Now, I absolutely loved the way this whole thing panned out. It was brilliant. However, can you put me down for Danhausen to win with his mystery partner, Pepsi Phil?
Yeah. This is what I was afraid of. This is why I didn't suggest it. At this point in time, would everybody be going for Punk as the partner? Ooh, Paul is saying no. Max is thinking.
Paul's going Corey Rhodes.
Be Corey. Go on, Paul. Go on then. You can go next.
So the stuff that I'd seen on the internet was all of the fact that obviously Michael Cole said it must be someone who likes money, and then obviously that sort of like got everyone's tongues wagging about the fact that who's had like some sort of like dabblings against the Miz in the past that likes money.
McMahon, you say? Interesting.
Yes, indeed.
Nick.
Here comes the money.
Money.
Going back to the singing again.
Very much.
So, Paul, are you going for Danhausen to win?
Oh yeah, big time.
And your guess then, Shane McMahon?
Shane O'Mac.
Bingo bango.
I had heard that same thing. I think that the money quote is just to throw people off. But still, Max, do you want to go next?
I hope it's not Jellyhausen.
I think there's more chance of that than Shane McMahon, to be honest.
Yeah, I was torn between Jelly Roll or CM Punk. Obviously, when CM Punk came back, he said the whole "I'm here to make money, I'm not here to make friends." It's quite ironic because then he brings his wife out and talks about how much he loves her and stuff, which that's kind of more friends than money. But never mind. So I still think Danhausen's going to win. Absolutely no question about it. But I don't know if it's going to be CM Punk or Jelly Roll. If you really want me to say something, I'll say Jelly Roll.
Okay. Well, which one are you picking?
Do we get points for it? Jelly Roll, screw it.
We've got different things so far. I'm going to be dead boring. Mine's the same as Andy's. Danhausen to win. It's going to be CM Punk. It's going to be Punkhausen as a tag team, and you absolutely bet your bottom dollar that CM Punk is wearing the face paint for it as well. Nailed on. Just think a bit further down the line.
You're going to look foolish.
Did anybody see these? I wasn't going to bring it up from a time perspective, but did anybody see the cameo thing where Danhausen cursed an entire basketball team? somebody
Not seen
contacted him through Cameo, asked him to remove the curse from the team and put it on the other team, and the other team lost in horrific fashion. Like there was a 40-something point difference. And now they're like, is this a thing we can do? Because I've got some other teams that need curses.
Not seen. I do need to find that. But no, Paul, what I was going to say is just think a little bit further down the line. Say the day of SummerSlam or the day before SummerSlam, where they have like all of like the fan stuff, and they generally do the announcements for which figures and pops and all that good stuff is going to come out. You're not telling me that they wouldn't sell shitloads of a 2-pack with Punk and Danhausen in action figure form in the face paint or in
2-pack?
Funko Pop style.
2-pack?
Yeah,
alongside
2-pack.
Danhausen and CM Punk? Bloody
Yeah,
hell,
if you like.
That's impressive. 2-pack Hausen. Yeah, lovely.
That with the chase variant. Anyway.
Yeah.
You have to pay many
Last
human
match.
beings.
Exactly. Last match on the card. World Heavyweight title match, Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. At Backlash, the cousins collide for the world title and the new champ Roman Reigns defends against the Samoan Werewolf. The OTC was delivering his post-Mania celebration speech and trying to bring the Usos back together to reform the bloodline. And just as they were raising the wands to the sky to signify that confirmation, Jacob Fatu suddenly interrupted and challenged Roman to the title match, saying he doesn't want that title. He needs that title, as he said it. If Roman's title reign is to come anywhere close to the records he set last time, he has to get beyond what I think is quite a difficult challenge in Jacob Fatu on the very first defense. Can the tribal chief get the job done? Or has he been offered a 50% pay cut and going to leave? Or is Jacob just winning and they all carry on? You decide. Max, you can go first. I don't think you've been first yet.
I didn't really want to go first. I have Roman Reigns to retain. However, what's going around the rumor mill at the minute is that Roman Reigns is not going to be present throughout June. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does lose his title or get injured at some point. But I think it's a bit early in the month for him to lose his title. And his title reign. So I'm going to stick with Roman Reigns winning said title. Retaining said title.
I've gone for the exact same and the same thought in the sense of they haven't been shy of changing a title on a Raw or SmackDown recently either. So if needs must, they could still go that way. So yeah, I have also gone for Roman Reigns, just because it's very early. Paul?
Yeah, same for me, but can they not just do the, like Andy said, and Andy said in the past, when people need to have time off, you do the, he's just got a horrendous injury. He's had his throat crushed. Oh no, it will take him at least 6 weeks. 9 weeks to come back. So I think he'll win, but then if they do need to write him off for a bit, they just give like solo. Jacob Fatu just does like the sort of the post match beat down and a couple of moonsaults off the top and stuff like that. Put him out for a long period of time, but keep the belt on Roman because you don't have him win the Royal Rumble, have him win at WrestleMania to then take the belt off him like 3 weeks later.
Cool.
A
backlash.
It's
going to be done. Andy, that gives you the final Backlash prediction. It's all yours, mate.
Get the big sweeping brush out. It's a clean sweep on this one. I absolutely agree. I think it far too soon to be moving that title anytime soon. But I do agree on he'll win, he'll get the shit kicked out of him, then they'll magically announce, oh, he took a terrible shoulder, back, ankle injury. He could be out for any amount of 8 7 weeks.
Atlanta Falcon.
Yeah, it's basically going to be one of those. Don't expect to see him anytime soon, or on any kind of press calls for any upcoming moves at all. But yeah,
Cool.
win and be out for a while.
Do you reckon that they've gone to him with this pay cut or the restructuring after he had the balls to be like, you bet your ass you'll see me all summer at the press conference after WrestleMania, and they thought, oh, he's backed himself into a corner, and then Chancellor Rahman have completely got it wrong. Anyway, right, all the predictions are in the book. Has anybody got any other business?
No, sir.
Just a massive congratulations, obviously, to Bianca Belair on announcing her pregnancy. Obviously,
Yeah,
wasted set.
at least it wasn't another Hogan advert. It was a 4-part series that has been advertised, split out into, 2 hours of it being shown across the whole weekend? Yeah. If anybody's not watched that, by the way, apparently it's out on Netflix. I don't know if they mentioned it enough.
Wait, it's on Netflix?
Yeah, apparently.
Why is this the first I'm hearing about this?
Yeah. Today. In the last
Whilst
10
we've
minutes.
done this podcast.
Yeah. Oh. Well, on that note, we will leave you to go and get ready. Prepare yourself for Backlash, and we will see you on the very next episode of Getting Over. If you haven't already, don't forget all the liking, all of the sharing, all of the subscribing, and all of that good stuff. And the best part, costs you nothing, but massively helps us. So please crack on with that. We'd really, really appreciate it. Right, we're out. See you next time.
So there you go. What do you think of that? Who do you reckon is going to be winning all these matches? If you think you know, you want to be in with a chance to win a prize, drop us a line. Obviously, before you do that, get the old like, share, subscribe, comment going. Then jump over to the website, thecookiecast.com. Click that email button. Drop us an email. Say hi. How are you doing? Here's my predictions for Backlash. And here's my address where you can send me my prize. And we'll absolutely do that. It'll be wrestling related. And hey, it's free. There we go. That is Backlash, well and truly predicted. And until next time, I'm going to say bye. And I'll see you then. Backlash.
This has been another episode of CookieCast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.